Just send it. That's what I told Chris, my literary agent. And like any proper agent would, he expressed how the third part of my book was still slightly unclear. There was still a fuzzy ending to my story. I knew that. I knew the third part of my story is fuzzy, but I promised God that I would do this, that I would send out my book proposal when whatever material I had was finished. My agent was kind enough to throw up his hands in the air with me and obey what I felt was my next step. I'd been working on this thank you kung fu book proposal for several months, casting off actual paying work in an attempt to climb this next mountain of my life. This proposal haunted me to such a degree that I couldn't even work if I wanted to. Oh man, after giving Chris the green light, I felt pure elation. I sat at the kitchen table of my sister's house where I was currently shacking up and told God that the results of my book proposal were now up to him. Even if nothing else came from it, I had done my part. Now, it's time for me to return to real work, bill-paying work, or at least that was the plan for the next 20 minutes. I received a text from my friend Lori. She wanted to go grab dinner. But there was something mysterious about this text, almost as if the true meaning of it were displayed hidden beneath the words of the actual images on my phone. I could tell something wasn't jiving, so I asked her to call me immediately. My phone rang. David, today is a crazy day. It's my nephew Ryan's birthday. My dad just had a small stroke, and I'm having your baby. Silence can't quite fully describe the emptiness and the blackness that followed that statement. Whoa. Are you sure? Are you really sure? What about the doctors who told you this wasn't even possible? I mean, you told me it was impossible for me to get you pregnant. That statement was followed by a rather repetitive, curse-laden understanding of what I was just told. Somewhere at that moment, I imagined, there was a success lab going on and my sperm were signing autographs. I agreed to meet her for dinner, knowing it was my parental duty to take the next steps alongside of her. We agreed to meet at Terra, a little small restaurant in Easttown. But first, I had to call my agent back. Chris, don't send the proposal yet. He asked why. What had possibly changed in the last half hour when I was so certain this was my next step? There was no way I could tell him. Sensing my last second redirection and my holy shit inflection, he was quite concerned and asked if I was okay. I lied through my teeth. Everything is fine. I just need to figure out the third part of my life. I don't know why, but as I drove to dinner, I thought of Pastor Goldman, who's my childhood preacher at First Baptist Church in Papillion, Nebraska. Being a true Southern Baptist preacher, his voice sounded like a gravelly Harley Davidson motorcycle engine. And when he yelled, when the Spirit moved, he simply revved up on that engine. But now, his loud and pointed words were focused on me, and I knew exactly how it would sound. You are a drunken fornicator. Laura and I sat across from each other in immeasurable silence. The pain and agony present was equivalent to a breakup dinner. But this was the opposite. This was a together forever dinner. This was a worlds colliding dinner. This was the understanding that my life would be eternally linked to her life dinner. I had stumbled onto something bigger than cancer, something bigger than divorce. I was 50% responsible for a new human being that would show up sometime in May. That night I laid in bed crying, knowing that any public goodwill that has been built around me through this cancer and divorce would soon be forgotten. I would never be forgiven for knocking up Lori. I felt myself building an argument with my would-be opposers. Listen, this is my first and only one-night stand. This is not my typical behavior. This is not who I am. This is not what I do. But turns out it was what I did, and it is who I am. At the back of my mind, I knew that single event, that single moment was the first step towards the third part of my story. And I have no idea how this story is going to end. There are days when I am certain I cannot do this. Aware that the inevitable lack of sleep will lead to increased seizures, I'm so scared to enter a lifelong commitment to another human being, my own flesh and blood, while carrying a signed doctor's note approving my mortality. So I continue leaning forward into this brain cancer I was told would kill me. It hasn't. I struggled through a divorce I thought would break me wide open. It didn't. And now, the surprise pregnancy makes me feel that I should somehow know what to do, that I should have some type of survival plan, that I could turn to break the glass on a white box mounted in the hallway entitled Emergency Drunken Pregnancy Help Kit. But it's not there. I checked. I have no survival plan. I feel like a small boy left alone, so scared of what's going to happen. Life is so messy. I really should have figured it out by now. Sometimes people get sick, and sometimes people fall out of love, and sometimes, in a single late night, whiskey-soaked moment, two friends drunkenly fornicate. This is simply a story of Lori's noticeably growing stomach and my noticeably stiffening jaw. I so badly wish I could push pause and hesitate for eternity. But Lori's belly continues to grow like a strange countdown clock, ending previous stories and, as it appears, beginning new ones. But now, I am forced to take this unavoidable first step towards that unknown, yet to be written, fuzzy third part of my story.